which is really super lame. Thank you, Lainey. Okay. If I turn, y'all can't hear the music, right? Because it's my screen. But okay. All right. Well, let's do this. There are some good memes, I think.
I can't get into it.
Oh, okay. Hold up. Can I stop it or pause it or something?
Well, like I don't know what's wrong. It like won't let me get in.
Refresh the page. Try. What's the size principle?
Okay, I'll just pay attention.
It let you in or not?
Yeah.
What, Macy?
No, I'll just pay attention.
Are you sure? Wait, why?
Yeah,
I can't. Okay.
I don't know what's wrong. I tried even doing it like on a different
Browser.
So.
What is it saying?
It like says join and then it won't like it. I click on it and it won't let me join.
Are you putting in all the numbers? And then it sounds rude, but sometimes it's like one number off, and so then I will like not let you.
No, it like wouldn't even like if I would click join and like it wouldn't even let me like put in the number in my name.
Okay, so the size principle is when motor units are The size principle is when motor units are recruited based on strength and frequency of stimulus. So if we have a really strong stimulus and a really strong frequency, we're going to recruit smaller motor units first, medium second, and the biggest third, right? So I said in session the other day, like if I'm picking up my phone, right, I'm going to recruit the smallest motor units first if I don't know how much strength I need. And so then I'm going to use small ones. And then if it ends up being really, really heavy, I'll increase the amount of motor units that I have so that I'm not wasting energy, or I'm not wasting motor units trying to recruit more than I need. This is so frustrating. This is like my least favorite thing. Okay. Keely is rocking it. What is muscle tone? Usually there's more than one right answer, by the way. Okay, cool. So it's not how swole you are, so I'm gonna take that as a W. Right, so it's due to spinal reflexes, right? The reflexes signal us to continue that muscle tone, right? It keeps us firm, healthy, and excitable, right? So that if sometimes they're being stimulated, even if they're not being used all the time, right? And then it's the slightly contracted state of all muscles, like your neck and your back, right? Like how your head is held up without you thinking about it or without you flexing, right? Cool, do we have any questions? Okay. Ooh, highest climber. Did you see it when like, it was cute. It's fine. What is the energy source for muscle contraction? Yo, okay, cool. So it's ATP, right? Adenosine triphosphate. Calcium binds to troponin, which allows us to make that cross bridge, but it's not our energy source. We need ATP to create that cross bridge and to break it, okay? So without ATP or without calcium, we can't make a contraction, but ATP is our energy source. Ooh, why is it decisive glider 49? Who is that? Why? A pathway that makes ATP that would make a lot of ATP, but starts out anaerobic. Did y'all do metabolism? Okay. Eric, have you watched all the note videos? Someone who's watched all the note videos, one of my females probably. What, did y'all go through metabolism? Not seeing any movement of any heads at all. No, you didn't? Okay, well, I'm not gonna edit them all out right now, but these are bonus questions, I guess. Okay, so cool. So it makes a lot of ATP, but it starts out anaerobically. Boom, roasted. Christian got it right. Proud. Is glycolysis and then the Krebs cycle, right? Because glycolysis is anaerobic, right? But the Krebs cycle ends up being aerobic and makes a lot of ATP. Lactic acid cycle, right? That's anaerobic, so it doesn't require oxygen and it doesn't end up making a lot of ATP. I'm sure you guessed, but like, you know what I'm saying? Which of these pathways requires oxygen? Wow, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. When does he go over metabolism with you guys? Because we didn't do it in the second test. Cool beans. Okay, anaerobic literally means the A means without, and then aerobic means like oxygen, right? So this "and" means without oxygen, just for fun facts. Ooh, go Lainey. Which of these is a factor for muscle contraction? The number of muscle fibers stimulated, the relative size of the fiber, the degree of stretch, or the frequency of stimulation. There may be more than one right answer. Okay, cool. They're all right. So all of these are factors for muscle contraction. The number of fibers stimulated, the degree of the stretch, the relative size of all the fibers, and the frequency of our stimulation. Yeah. Those are things that he can ask you. He could just ask you in a list, and if you didn't know that, then you're kind of screwed, right? But it's a pretty broad question. Which of these terms means using, I'm sorry, anaerobic glycolysis in a muscle fiber? Oh, y'all do need to know this. Anaerobic glycolysis in a muscle fiber, because this has to do with your fiber types. Christian's like, I watched that video and I don't know what the answer is. Glycolytic, okay, it's an anaerobic glycolysis, so it's glycolytic. Okay. Bye, Eric. Which of these isn't a kind of muscle fiber? Music. Okay, cool. So slow glycolytic is not a kind of muscle fiber. So we have slow oxidative, right? Fast oxidative and fast glycolytic. Usually they try and trick you with these because there are 3 of the 4, and this is the one that there's not, okay? We don't have any slow glycolytic fibers. The video on the website is very good for the fibers. Which of these doesn't describe fast oxidative fibers? Cool. So they're not very fatigue resistant because so they're fast oxidative. So they're going to be producing a lot of lactic acid. And so they are very, they fatigue very quickly. Okay. These are like our sprinting fibers, right? We can use a lot in a short amount of time. However, we're not going to maintain that. Which of these isn't a factor of how fast a muscle contracts and how long it stays contracted? I like want to play Kahoot music in the background because it's like really messing with me that there's no music. Okay, cool. So the speed of contraction, right? So the amount of fibers is recruitment, right? The muscle type, right? That tells us how long we're going to be able to maintain that. And then the load is also a factor, right? Because even if we're super, super strong, we're not going to be able to hold a really, really heavy load for a really long time. I'm trying to play Kahoot music because I hate myself. You know what I'm saying? Okay, cool. Do you hate me? Do you want me to not do this? I'm going to do it. Can you even hear it? Is it really loud? I need this for me. Which of these is matched correctly? Need it. It's like dance music. Okay, cool. So all of these are right. So aerobic exercise like jogging, swimming, when myoglobin is being synthesized, right? Because myoglobin is the oxygen carrier for muscles, just like hemoglobin is the oxygen carrier for blood, right? Disuse atrophy is when we're lack of usage. So therefore, like people on bed rest or people that have trouble moving around or live a very sedentary life might have an atrophy of a muscle. Resistance, right, is anaerobic. Usually that's short bursts of lots of power, right? And that ends up getting us hypertrophy, right? A lot of the time muscle bodybuilders are hypertrophied. Their muscles are really, really big. Keely, ooh, 11? How many are we at? I don't even know. 12? How are we feeling about this exam, friends? There are some fun questions sprinkled in here. Please help, weak sauce. Okay, cool. We got 4 people that are gonna murder this exam, and I'm proud. However, the rest of you are gonna do great. Confidence is key. Hey, Delinda, we're doing a Kahoot that is linked. The link is in the chat. I'm really not capable of talking today, and the code's down here. Lainey murdering it. 12. Jam, jelly, or preserves? Not an anatomy question. Jelly. Oh, okay. I dig. I am a jelly person. I really don't like chunks in my, like, I don't like it. I feel like it interrupts the texture of the toast or like thank you, Marley. I appreciate you. Everyone in Texas is like, you are not Texan if you don't like chunks of fruit in you. Like, I don't even like yogurt that has chunks in it. You know what I'm saying? Just like not my gig. Okay. All right. I think we're in that. Which of these is not a function of bone? Okay. So, what hormones did we talk about when we talked about bones? Not a rhetorical question. A real question. Anyone? Anyone down there? Keely? Angel? Austin? Jonathan? Lainey? What hormones have to do with bones?
Parathyroid hormone.
Parathyroid hormone and calcitonin. So I think that might have been the first session we did, or the second session. There is a video on those, okay? Calcitonin and parathyroid hormone regulate the amount of calcium in your blood. The nutrient transport is done by the blood, right? Not by the bone. Okay, so your bones do produce hormones. Tough rounds. Oh, gee. How are bones classified? There is more than one right answer. Awesome. I'll take that. No one got anything wrong. Right. Shape and location. Okay. Describe this bone. There it is. Okay, cool. So this is an appendicular bone. So technically, I feel where you were on axial, right? Because it's in line, right? Because that is one part of a pelvis, okay? So it's part of a limb bone though, because it attaches to your femur. Okay, your axial skeleton only consists of your skull and your vertebrae. Okay, your appendicular skeleton and your ribs, and then everything else is appendicular. We know that it's irregular though, so that's a win.
Are there going to be questions like that on the exam?
Not with a picture, no. But I'm just trying to test your knowledge of what kind of bones we're talking about. I don't think they've never done a picture. So match and define the difference between compact and spongy bone. Okay, cool. Compact bone has a dense outer protective layer, right? And then spongy bone has the trabecula, okay? And it's pretty porous and it makes blood cells and hormones and has fat in it and other things. Ooh. Where are the trabecula located? Maybe were you listening to me? Maybe I'll just like do music and not like Kahoot music. I don't know. That's like 7 minutes and I'm like tired of Kahoot music. Okay, cool. In the spongy bone, okay, so the periosteum is around the outside of the bone. Okay, so that's not what we're talking about. And then compact bone is more of a protective layer. What is a diplo or dipole or whatever? Okay, cool. So it's pretty much like a sandwich of spongy bone covered by compact bone. So if we're making this sandwich, our bread is the compact bone, and then our PB&J or whatever we're putting in our sandwich is that spongy bone between. Okay, and this is in that short, flat, and irregular bones. Okay. Okay. Match and define. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find background music. I'm not ignoring you. Tell me about periosteum and endosteum. So jazzy. Okay. So your periosteum is outside of the compact bone, right? Peri means around or outside or perimeter, if that makes you feel better, perimeter. Okay, and then endo means within or inside. So it's the inside portion of the compact bone where periosteum is the outside of the compact bone. Yeah? Okay. Boom. What kind of bone are periosteum and endosteum? So jazzy. Okay, so these are on your short, flat, and irregular bones. Okay, so a lot of the time with the bones, I think there's a video in the playlist where John Green's brother, I don't know what his name is, Hank Green, he does all the bone shapes and stuff, and I think it's like the first video in the playlist, and he shows you all the bones and where the things are, and he gives you a really good visual. So I think with bones, it's important to go look at all that. Which of these is in the correct order from top to bottom? Right, so if we're looking at this bone, from the top of this bone to the bottom of this bone, tell me about it. Did we lose a bunch of human beings? Okay, so this is good. So we have membrane, and then we have epiphyses, right? And then diaphysis, and then membrane again, okay? Who's in first? Oh, Lainey, Keely, and Heather coming in on the behind here. Then you can laugh at that. That's funny. Which of these is incorrect? Okay, cool. So the epiphyseal line is where bone growth occurs. So the epiphyseal plate is where bone growth occurs, and the epiphyseal line is after we're done ossifying, after we're done growing, this epiphyseal plate calcifies. Okay, so that's like the adult version. Okay, is the epiphyseal line. Match and define. Okay, so these are all right. So their endosteum is a connective tissue membrane that covers the internal surface, right, endo, and it covers the trabecula. Your periosteum is a double layered membrane that covers the external surfaces, not your joints, right? Your fibrous is in the periosteum, it's a dense, irregular connective tissue, and it has Sharpey's fibers in there, okay? And then your osteogenic cells are these archaic osteogenic stem cells that arise to bone, right? So they can differentiate into a lot of things, and sometimes they end up becoming bone. Which of these is false? Okay, so the most active areas in hematopoiesis are in long bones, actually in your short, flat, and irregular bones. This and in that diplo or dipole or whatever the heck you want to call it is where our most active area of hematopoiesis is. I spelled that wrong. What is hematopoiesis?
Blood formation.
Yeah, this is where we make our blood. Oh my, Laney and Keely fighting for the top. Okay, which of these are true? I'll try and skip that extra time at the end. I don't know if it skips the question though, so. Okay, cool. So all of these are true, right? A projection is an outward bulge, an opening is a hole, canal, or passageway, and a depression is like a bowl or groove, okay? Which of these isn't a cell in bone tissue? Okay, cool. So a hydroxyapatite is part of the inorganic portion of the bone. Okay, it's part of the salts and minerals that are deposited in the bone. So it's not a cell. Ooh, real Marley, that's funny. I don't know if you just like came in a different time or if you just like, that's like your rapper name. All right, match the term and definition. Okay, cool. So an osteocyte is mature, they don't divide, they maintain the matrix. That's pretty much the definition of a site. And then anything with osteo in it refers to bone, right? Blasts form, build, okay? Progenitor cells are stem cells that are mitotically active, meaning they divide and become different things. And then a periosteal cell is a cell bone lining cell. So if we heard like periosteum, right? So it outlines the external surface. Ooh, get it up. Which of these isn't true of canals and canaliculi? I don't like any of this. Okay, cool. So they're not made of hydroxyapatites because they're part of organic matter. So we said earlier, hydroxyapatites are the minerals and things and salts that are deposited in the bone, right? They do have a core of an osteon. They do have hair-like canals that connect to each other, and they are lined with endosteum, and they do have a reversion system and things like that. Oh, streak. Match and define. I will figure this out. Tell me about lamella. Oh, smooth, easy jazz. Okay, cool. So interstitial lamella is not part of the osteon. Okay, so it's those little stars between. Okay. It fills the gaps between the osteons. The circumferential lamella is deep, but it's that whole, the circumference of the osteon, okay? And then it also helps to resist twisting, okay? There are two kinds of bone growth. Which of these isn't one? Okay, cool. So we have interstitial and appositional growth, okay? Intramembranous and endochondral are a different thing, okay? Let's deal with cartilage. Ooh, some game changes. Define appositional growth. Okay, cool. So it secretes matrix on the surface of the cartilage, okay? And then therefore it means it only has one primary ossification center, okay? And it expands from the outside, not from within, right? Because interstitial within. Ooh, yeah. Go Lainey. Look at you guys. Stunning. Everyone else is doing great. You're just testing your knowledge. I'm just like commenting on what I can see. Which of these applies to intramembranous ossification? Okay, cool. So that's not great. Okay, so intermembranous has one ossification center. It's formed by mesenchymal cells, and it forms your parietal occipital, and so it forms your skull and your clavicles. Okay, and it only has one ossification center. Lainey, the Kahoot's posted on the website. You can play it all on your own. And then this session is being recorded and I'm gonna post it. So you can watch that too. Oh, you're in the lead though. You can't go. You're in the lead. All right, tell me about endochondral ossification. Oops. Of course, bye girly. Okay, cool. So it forms hyaline cartilage. It has primary and secondary ossification centers. So intramembranous only has one, but endochondral has two, and then it involves that periosteal bud that forms in the middle of that bone when it's hyaline cartilage. Oh, Christian. Match and define. Okay, so intramembranous has some irregular bones and short bones, and then it forms long, flat, and some short. Okay. The primary ossification center in endochondral ossification. Where is it? What does it do? Okay, so it is in the mid epiphysis, right? Because that's where our epiphyseal plate is and the epiphyseal line is. Which zone in long bone growth is where mitotic division occurs? Cool, the proliferation zone. So the ossification zone is where we're going to ossify all the new cells, right? And then the hypertrophic zone, there is some proliferation, but it's not as much as the proliferation zone, okay? Oh, bumping up. How do bones grow in their width? All right, appositional growth, okay? Interstitial growth is growth within, okay? Appositional growth allows us to grow in width. So if it's growing within, we're usually going up, and then appositional growth is growing in width. Think about if you have a really big appetite, you're gonna grow in width, okay? Ooh-wee. You still here? You still here? Cool, cool. Let's go. All right, match the definitions. Okay, so osteoclasts, right? Clasts break down, they remove bone from the surface, and blasts secrete matrix on the external surface, right? Blasts build and clasts destroy. Match the hormone and its function. Okay, cool. So thyroid hormone ensures proper proportion and it regulates growth hormone. Growth hormone is the most important and it stimulates the epiphyseal plate to divide and proliferate and to make us taller or whatever our bone needs to do. And then testosterone and estrogen promotes growth during puberty. Oh. Bone deposit, which is incorrect for bone deposit, I guess it should say. All right, so the bone matrix is secreted by osteoclasts. Awesome, right? Bone matrix is secreted by osteoblasts, right? Yeah. All right, okay, so for bone resorption, right, osteoclasts don't undergo apoptosis. Osteoclasts do. So once osteoclasts have broken down that surface in bone resorption, they apoptose and they are gone. They've done their job until they leave, okay? So then for bone resorption, we do secrete lysosomal enzymes. The digestive products are released into interstitial fluid and resorption is due to osteoclasts. Ooh, Jonathan. Ooh. Which of these is important part of which of these isn't part of parathyroid hormone? Cool. So parathyroid hormone is due to low blood calcium, right? And so it will increase the blood calcium. Ooh, killing it. What is Wolff's law? Okay, so this awesome. So bones grow in and remodel in response to demands placed on them. Okay, so if we're going to the gym a lot and we're growing these bones and we're getting really, really swole, then our muscles and our bones are going to grow together, and our bones are going to get pulled by that mechanical stress, and they're going to grow. Okay, or if we're sitting on the couch all the time and we're quarantining really, really hard, our bones might not remodel so much. Okay. Which of these isn't a classification of fracture? Okay, cool. So it's not, we do classify by completeness of break. Okay, right? We have incomplete and complete. Complete is when we're through the skin. It's completely, whoa, there's our bone. And incomplete is when we did not break the skin. Immobilization is not a classification of a fracture. Perfect. Oh, times 2 points. Peter Griffin broke his leg, and the ends of his bone are in normal position, broken all the way, and didn't come out of the skin. Tell me about his fracture. All right, friends, I'm confused. So there's 13 people in session and we have like 9 responses. It's cool if you don't want to play, but I need you to get out of the Kahoot if you want to just watch so that we're not waiting on your responses. Does that make sense? And if you're just like having trouble, let me know or let someone in the chat know so that we can help you. Okay, cool. So it's non-displaced because its ends are in normal position. It's broken all the way. That makes it complete. And it's not out of the skin, so it's a closed or closed. Boom. Jonathan, streak of 10. Whoop. Which of these steps is not in the right order? Okay, so when bone is healing, which of these steps is not in the right order? Macy, it might be worth trying it again. It might like let you, unless your nails are painted right now, which it looked like they were, which is chill. They look pretty. Okay, so first we have a hematoma. Okay, and then we have a fibrocartilaginous callus. Then we have bone remodeling, and then we have bony callus formation, unless it's hematoma remodeling. I know for sure that it's hematoma first, bony callus formation last, and I think it's fibrocartilage callus formation and then bone remodeling. Could be wrong. Someone is chatting me and saying I'm wrong. I am sorry that it kicked you out. Try and rejoin. If it doesn't, let me know. Can y'all see this chat that's on the thing? Yeah, okay, cool. Just didn't know. Okay. Boom. Which of these doesn't describe osteomalacia? Cool. So osteomalacia Osteomalacia is bone softening. That doesn't necessarily give us bowed legs, but bone softening occurs due to poor mineralization, soft and weak bones, and when our calcium salts are not adequately deposited. I am glad you are back. Welcome back to the clan. Cool. Lenny is unstoppable. Unstoppable. Which of these doesn't describe rickets? Cool. So rickets is just osteomalacia for BBs, right? For little kids, okay? So it's not seen in aged patients, it's seen in young patients. D, get it. Okay, cool. Which of these doesn't describe osteoporosis? There you go. Okay, cool. So osteoporosis is not in males, right? Osteoporosis is usually in females, and it's usually because of that estrogen drop, okay? So smoking is a risk for osteoporosis, actually. So actually most of the diseases that like you don't want or like smoking is a risk factor for that, which is like, should tell you something about smoking. But so osteoporosis is mostly in females, right? What's mostly in males? What kind of arthritis? It's the weird one. Welcome back, Marley. Anyone?
Gouty.
Gouty, yeah. Where does it deposit?
The big
Where does it?
toe.
Yeah, your uric acid crystals are in the big toe. So weird. Welcome back, Angel. All right, which of these doesn't describe Paget's or Piaget's disease or something? Does anyone like Rick and Morty? It's funny. I turned myself into a mug, Morty. Okay, so immobility is not a risk factor. So Paget's disease or Piaget, whatever, is haphazard bone deposit. So we kind of we're like, we woke up really late and we have to run. We have to go find everything we need and we need to run out of the house. And so maybe we forgot to put on deodorant or we forgot to brush our teeth or we didn't get our textbook, right? We're really frantic. And so we have that haphazard bone deposit. So our ratios are really off. Okay, we don't actually know why it happens. It could be viral. We don't super know. What is your favorite kind of pie? Okay, tell me your others then, human beings. Your others.
Cherry.
Ooh. Okay.
You forgot
Yeah.
apple.
Oh, okay. Apple. Yeah, you know, I did. I'm sorry. What else? Apple, cherry. Two more.
Blueberry.
Are you lying? Has anyone ever had blueberry pie? Okay. Yeah. Two of you. The rest of it, that might be weird. You might be weird, in case you're wondering. Anyone else? Favorite kind of pie that I didn't list? I feel like pumpkin's like a cop-out, so I put pumpkin as a cop-out, you know?
I don't really like pie.
Hey, cake?
Nope.
No. What do you like?
I don't really eat cake or pie. I like candy.
Candy, ice cream?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I didn't really like pie until I like live in this town, you know, because like, oh, we live in a very small town. Jonathan, roasting. Let's roast it. Or which of these isn't a structural classification of joints? Yeah, yeah, that was bad. We should not have done that. My bad. Also, if you don't want to talk, but you still want to participate, I encourage that you chat. Ooh, look at these. Diarthrosis is not. So we have 3 structural classifications. We have fibrous, cartilaginous, and synovial. Look at Hundo. Hundo, look at you killing it, killing it. Okay, so synovial is a type of structural classification. Ooh, ooh. Yeah. A joint that is slightly movable is what? Okay, so it's an amphiarthrosis, right? So synarthrosis is there's no movement. Diarthrosis is there's lots of movement, right? Like your shoulder. And then amphiarthrosis is a little movement, okay? Uh-oh, on the move. Okay. Cool. Which of these doesn't describe synovial joints? Okay, so they are diarthrotic, okay? They are fluid filled and they are part of your limb bones, okay? They don't have articular cartilage. So that doesn't talk about the joint, okay? That's part of the bone. Okay. Which of these doesn't describe fibrous joints? Maybe that's what this one. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that loud enough but not distracting? Nothing? No one? I had like smooth jazz on, but I felt like that was really, thank you. Tell me if you have a song request. I just like am playing my music. I appreciate you. I don't know. I had like jazz and I feel like that was really old people. Like that was like an old people thing to do, is not to just like play regular music. Okay. Which of these doesn't describe, maybe I'll just put the chat over here. Oh, John Bellion is, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. He is Bay. It's fine. Okay, fibrous joints do not have a joint cavity. So fibrous joints are gonna be like the joints in your skull, like those suture lines, okay? So they don't have a joint cavity. So there's no movement of that at all. If you can move your skull bones, go to the physician. There's a problem. Oh, is he really so good? I saw 21 Pilots live and I literally like, I saw them at ACL and I just like, it's like, okay, there's a lot going on the screen. Okay. Oh, Heather, I'm very much from Austin. I literally am super weird. All right, which of these isn't a characteristic of synovial joints? We'll talk in a second. I'll like put you right here. Okay, so right. So muscle tone doesn't have to do with the joint, right? But it does have to do with the joint stability. So right. So they do have fat pads. Actually, if you look up like a picture of the knee, there are fat pads actually embedded in it, just as shock absorption and for cushioning. Okay, where is everyone from for funsies?
Fort Worth.
Cool. I know where Christian's from, but do you want to tell me where you're from? He's not paying attention to me. Does someone else want to tell me where they're from?
Frisco.
Oh, hello, Frisco. No one else.
Austin.
Heather, you're from Austin?
I
Where are you
love
from?
Like North Austin. I'm like 5 minutes from the Domain.
No way. Hello, I'm asking people where they're from. I'm from Westlake. Sorry, I didn't. I just happened to live in that area and I love Austin. When I came to this really, really small town, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So where is everyone else from? If you want to chat me, you can. I'm just curious because we're talking about music. South of Austin, San Marcos. Yes, we got Austin human beings. When I came here, I was like, is anyone from anything but not Fort Worth or a small town? Was anyone's graduate? Yes, Fort Worth. I was like, did anyone's graduating class break 100? I'll let me be friends with you, please. They were like, my graduating class is like 9. And I was like, that's cool. I'm happy for you, but that's really weird. That's weird. You like, you know? Anyone else where my headphones are going? No one else feels like sharing. That's okay. I appreciate it. I love my Austinites. Thanks for sharing. Okay. All right, we'll go back to this. I might have to take my headphones out. Let's see. Is this okay for sound? Wow, Heather's on the phone. That's fine. Okay, right? So, all right, mix and match. And 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm confused. We have 14 people in here and we have 7 people answering. And we'll call you out, right, meow? Are we texting? What are we doing? Are we pooping? What's wrong? Are we okay? You can poop and do this at the same. I mean, I guess you couldn't because you want to take the computer. Don't poop and do this. Okay. So the intercapsular is deep, right? It's intra, it's within, it's covered by that synovial membrane, right? Extracapsular, extra, so it's outside, right? Capsular is thickened by part of the fibrous membrane. No, you're not. I literally just discovered them, like literally. I know that this is like a really popular song, but I was listening to Netflix like Trip or something, and I was like, the song is amazing. It's fine. It's not like it gives me goosebumps and it just talks about The Office, but it's like, it's such good stuff. Oh, like guillotine? Oh yeah. My heart. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Sorry, I know I'm distracted, but I feel like this is more fun. Which of these is also a characteristic of a synovial joint? Okay, cool. So they have bursa, right? They have those little sacs of bursa that are filled with synovial fluid for so that we don't have as much irritation, right, and inflammation. We have tendon sheaths, which are pretty much bursa for tendons, so that when tendons rub against joints and bones and other ligaments, they don't get inflamed. And we have a whole cavity for the joint where it has synovial fluid and other things. It's okay that if you honestly don't know. I appreciate honesty. Someone texted me the other day and was like, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I was like, thank you. Which of these injuries is from compression and shear stress, and it's repaired by arthroscopic? It's arthroscopically. Where'd it go? I don't know if I've listened to maybe IDK. Is that an AJR song? Oh, I haven't listened to it. I will listen to it and I will get back to you. Appreciate it. Okay, so it is a cartilage tear. So it's a shear stress. Okay, so it's put under so much stress that it tears, and it's repaired arthroscopically. Okay, so bursitis, itis means inflammation. Subluxation is when we're dislocating something or we're partially dislocating something. And then this is why I said sprain and not sprain and strain. I say cartilage tear and a sprain, so that you don't have to try and differentiate between those two. Oops. This injury is chronic and acute, and has pain, stiffness, and joint swelling. So if you know what joint swelling is in like medical terminology, you can answer this question. Okay, bursitis is when we're just doing the bursa. That's okay. So arth means joint and itis means inflammation. So you were on the right track. Oh, I didn't. Which kinds of arthritis is matched with its characteristic? So OA is osteoarthritis, and then RA is rheumatoid arthritis. And then we have gouty arthritis. Okay, cool. So OA, right, osteoarthritis is the most common. It's a wear and tear thing. More women have it than men. It's more of like a, when we get older, you know, your cartilage and things like that just end up giving out. It ends just up, it gets used a lot, okay? Gouty arthritis, we talked about, is more men than women. It deposits uric acid crystals in your big toe. And then rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease where more women have it than men. So gouty is the only one where it's more men than women. Macy, I don't know if that's a sports bra, but it's so cute. I can't hear you. Which of these isn't true?
I don't think it's a sports bra.
Oh, is it a bathing suit or something? Bye. Thank you for hanging out. The thing will be on the YouTube. So
I have no idea. It's from Victoria's Secret.
It's what?
From Victoria's Secret. I think I got it for like $10 still.
Steal. It's a steal. Okay. So smooth muscle is not involuntary, or it is not striated. It is involuntary. It's not striated, right? Smooth tells us what it looks like, okay? Okay, so skeletal muscle does tire easily and it's powerful. So tiring easily is pretty subjective. So think about it in terms of all the other kinds of muscles that you have, right? Does your heart tire quickly? No, right? Does your digestive system tire quickly? No. So of those kinds, right, your skeletal muscle tires quickly, okay? Muscle's ability to respond to stimulus is known as what? Ooh, excitability. Extensibility is the fact that it's able to recoil, okay, and come back to the same place and stretches. Jonathan. Ooh. Which of these is not a muscle function?
100. You all get a gold star. Do I even have one of those? That would be fun. Hold on. Boom. Gold star. Okay, cool. So the functions are to stabilize joints, generate heat, and maintain posture. Don't forget about maintaining posture. I think that one's one that people really get tripped up on, and they're like, wait, maybe does it even do that, right? And stabilizing joints, right? Our muscles are positioned and put in a certain area so that they do stabilize your joint, right? Your deltoid sits right on top of your shoulder, and that's, I mean, it's obviously on purpose, but it definitely provides lots of stability for that joint, right? So does your triceps and your biceps, because we're totally encompassing this joint in muscle, and so then it is, it's totally encased so that it has a higher stability. Sorry, I feel like I've been like not speaking correctly today. It's like challenging. I'm like stuttering. Which of these isn't correct? Match the connective tissue definition. I feel that so hard. I just want to like lay down. It's like every 2 minutes I'm like, can I quit? Is it time? Like, not, my attention span is really short today. Okay, cool. So the perimysium surrounds the entire muscle. That is not true. The epimysium surrounds the entire muscle. And then we go to perimysium, and then we go to endomysium. Okay? Oops. Which of these is defined correctly? All these units. Okay, so your insertion is your movable end and your origin is your immovable end. So if you weren't here for session, my analogy for this is your origin, where you were born, right? All that jazz, your family, where you originate, you can't change anything about, right? You're dealt that hand when you're born, and then your insertion, or where you place yourself in life, is something that you get to change and move and do all that. So your insertion is the movable end, okay? That's how I remember it. Alicia is coming up. Match, define. Which of these is incorrect? So which of these is matched and defined incorrectly? Okay, let's see. So, cool. This is fun, right? Okay, so the indirect attachment, right, is where the connective tissue wraps and extends beyond the muscle, right? Your direct attachment is fused to that periosteum. It's directly connected. And then your fleshy attachment is when it's, the epimysium is fused to the perichondrium. So it's fleshy because it's one membrane fused to another. Direct is right up to the bone, and indirect is kind of, it's close to it, it's on a muscle, okay? I'm good. Which of these is incorrectly defined? Okay, so the sarcolemma is the membrane. Okay, so this is a dope song, but we need to know these definitions. So myoglobin is the oxygen storage in muscle. So myo literally means muscle, right? So just like hemoglobin is the oxygen store for blood. Bye, Macy. Thanks for hanging out, girlie. It'll be on the YouTube. The sarcolemma is that plasma membrane, okay? And then the sarcoplasmic reticulum, or the sarcoplasm, is, what did I say? The sarcolemma, oh, I didn't read. Hold on. Incorrectly defined. Okay, the sarcolemma is the plasma membrane, okay? And then the sarcoplasm is the cytoplasm. They have plasm at the end, so that can tell you that the cytoplasm and the sarcoplasm are the same, okay, just for muscles. Define a myofibril. Okay, cool. So a myofibril is a rod-like element. It contains sarcomeres, and it's 80% of your muscle cell volume. Your storage of oxygen in a muscle fiber is from your myoglobin, okay? Jonathan, you have any study tips for us? Which of these isn't defined correctly? Okay, so for these, he's probably not going to give you a picture and ask you to label it, but he's probably going to describe it in words. Actually, he might give you a picture just because it's online, but I'm going to safely say he probably wouldn't give you a picture. If I was you, I would draw this, like, I didn't bring a pen because I hate myself. I would draw a sarcomere and label all of these places, right? The Z line, the A band, the M line. I would label all of that, and I would draw it over and over again until you can draw it by yourself. Because if you can draw that on a piece of paper, right, when you start your test, or, you know, if you just, you know, have it, whatever, from your brain or paper, whatever, you can tell me where things are and what's happening. But I think you need to know where these are, okay? So the M line doesn't completely disappear in the contraction. It's the H zone that does that. Get a D. Pick the myofilaments and their correct definitions. Okay, so the actin is that light band, and it's covered with tropomyosin and troponin. Which of those fibers is the one that binds to calcium? Which of those bind to calcium?
Troponin.
Cool. So troponin binds to calcium, which allows us to pull tropomyosin away. Okay. And then myosin is that dark band, right? Because it's thicker and it's got that globular head and it attaches to actin. What is the function of troponin? I hate myself. Ooh. Okay. So calcium binds to troponin. Okay. It's the troponin is the little thing, like it looks like a circle, right? And then the calcium comes and binds on it and then moves the filament, which is tropomyosin. Okay. So the covering of the active site is done by tropomyosin. So it's, if you can't remember this, tropomyosin blocks myosin, okay? So it's covering the active site. Tropomyosin blocks myosin, okay? Laney getting back. All right, what compromises the thick filament of a muscle fiber? Awesome. Okay, the thick filament has a myosin head, a myosin tail, 2 heavy chains, and 4 light polypeptide chains. Which of these comprises the thin filament? Okay, so the thin filament has that G and F actin, okay? If you remember that the thin filament is actin, that G and F actin makes sense, okay? It has a kidney-shaped G actin, which is that globular, oh, no, that's actin, not myosin. I'm not gonna tell you what that is, you don't need to know. And then the F actin strand, which is tropomyosin and troponin. Ooh. Which of these doesn't describe the sarcoplasmic reticulum? Okay, so it does not, what allows electrical nerve transmission to reach each muscle fiber? Marley, say it again with your lips.
The tubule? It's
Yeah,
probably
the
not.
T-tubule, okay? The T-tubule goes down and allows that electrical nerve transmission, and then the sarcoplasmic reticulum stores and releases that calcium, okay? So the sarcoplasmic reticulum has to do all with calcium. Calcium, 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 okay? The T-tubule is an electrical port, pretty much. Which of these doesn't describe the T-tubule? I know, I'm sorry, I'm recycling memes. Finding 100 good memes is very challenging. I was like, they're memes, right? I see them all the time. False. Okay, cool. It doesn't store and release calcium. Okay. It doesn't necessarily, it does. It kind of, so it increases the amount of muscle fibers reached, but it doesn't necessarily increase their surface area. I understand why you would put that though. So like, I'm not mad about that. 4 in a row. Do the myofilaments change length during contraction? Okay. Someone want to tell me what happens?
They just slide on top of each other. They don't shorten, right?
Yes, perfect. So if this is actin and this is myosin right here, they don't get smaller, right? They just slide on top of each other. So if you haven't been watching the session, you probably wouldn't know that. So that's okay. So hear me, because they will ask you this and they will try and trick you. And most people get this super, super wrong. So they do not change length. They just overlap more, and so it looks like they're shorter. The sarcomere shortens. That's the smallest contractile unit. That's the thing that contracts and shortens, okay? But the filaments just slide over each other, which is why it's called the sliding filament model. Yes, do not be tricked. I'm not like angry. I just don't want you to get tricked because I feel like that one is like something I can just tell you and you can like know. Just like when you see that question, like do the little Dory like red flag, like I don't know why, but I'm feeling like there's a red flag. We should go through the trench and not over it. Okay. Is that what it was? It's fine. Ooh, we got some human beings. Okay. What is a cross bridge? Oh, sorry. Okay, awesome. We don't even need to talk about this. Boom. Whoa, look at all the points. Not that the points really matter, but that was a lot. Which zone disappears during contraction? I told you this a couple ones. Okay, cool. So the A band is both filaments together. It's the actin and the myosin part, which is why it's dark, because it has 2 filaments in it, not 4. It has 2 filaments in it. The H zone is the middle piece where there's only myosin, and that part disappears because we totally overlap. So then there's no place where there's just myosin. What is Ben saying? Is he being funny? Describe a membrane potential. Okay. Yes. Cool. It is based on solubility. It's based on the movement of ions, which tells me about solubility. It's also based on charge. Does anyone remember what the magic number of the resting membrane potential is?
-0.7 something. No, does it have a 7 in it? I know it has a 7.
It does. So it's -70 millivolts. So I'm thinking you were going to say negative like 0. Blah. What? It's -70 millivolts is our resting membrane potential. I feel like they asked me that, but I think that's important. It is also the depolarization of a membrane. So the depolarization just means we're changing that ion concentration, which therefore changes our voltage, which allows us to repolarize and depolarize and all this jazz. Okay? Oh. What is the sliding filament model? Part 4. I don't even want to talk about it. It's perfect. How are we doing? How do we feel, friends? How do we feel? No, holy crap. I'm going to take that, but we do have 2 trash can fires. Okay, good. And actually, I'll take 6. I'll take 6 of 8. Anyone who is a trash can fire, you're not a trash can fire. You feel like a trash can fire, which is not accurate, I have to say. You're welcome to message me after or now or whatever, and I will help you the best that I can, okay? I believe in you. You can be the best trash can fire ever. What is a neuromuscular junction? Yo, if you've taken your anatomy or if you looked at the muscles, this meme is hilarious. I think it's hilarious. I got 1 smile. I'm going to take that as a W. She could be laughing at something else, though. Okay. A neuromuscular junction is the folding of the sarcolemma, which is the membrane, the plasma membrane between the neuron and the sarcoplasm. Okay, the sarcoplasm is that cytoplasm. It's also known as a motor end plate. Okay, so don't let us. So the junction is because it's 2 things junctioning. It's the end of the neuron, it's that action terminal, and it's the start of our muscle fiber or our sarcolemma, okay? That's why it says junction. If you don't remember what it says junction, so then it's like, oh. What is the neurotransmitter that we care about for our muscular system? Perfect. Acetylcholine, okay? Serotonin and dopamine are not what we're talking about. So acetylcholine is released from that axon terminal in the secretory vesicles that they attach to the acetylcholine receptors in the neuromuscular junction, okay? Which allows us to transfer that electrical signal down the T-tubule and into the sarcoplasmic reticulum, and calcium and calcium and calcium. Okay? Which of these doesn't characterize myasthenia gravis? Cool. Cool. So, what occurs post-mortem? What's the thing called?
Rigor mortis.
Thank you. Awesome. Cool. So it is an autoimmune disease, and it does have to do with a shortage of acetylcholine receptors, and we have drooping eyelids, difficulty swallowing, right? That has to do with muscle twitch and muscle tone maintenance because of our shortage of acetylcholine.
I'm sorry, which one was the one that occurs post-mortem?
Rigor mortis.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're good. Which of these isn't a step in action potential? Cool. So we have end plate potential, right? But we don't have the beginning plate potential, right? That's just our resting membrane potential. Okay. So it goes, so go look. I recommend just going and watching a video before me trying to tell you them in order, because knowing the steps of an action potential and where we start from the somatic motor neuron all the way through contraction and putting calcium back into the sarcoplasmic reticulum is key for the test. You need to know where we're going and what the process is. Which step of an action potential involves a refractory period? Okay, cool. So repolarization. So repolarization is after we've contracted, right? So first, to do our action potential, we depolarize, and then after we're done, we repolarize. And so I like to talk about, so we're putting all the ions back and the calcium back and everything. We're kind of resetting. So I like to explain this as maybe you're taking a test or writing a paper or doing some homework or something, and you need a specific amount of break time or time on your phone where you have a refractory period or a break time to recalibrate and make sure you don't want to die and that you don't hate your life, right? And then you can go back to studying. So that's your refractory period, yeah? Cool. During an action potential, when a certain threshold is met, what happens? Okay. So when we hit that threshold, now our voltage gradient, when we hit that threshold, our voltage gradient sodium channels open, okay? And so they open, and that allows us to start the whole process. So we have to hit that threshold before we can even open the sodium channels to tell us to do anything, okay? Ooh, someone went above someone else, I'm sorry. Which of these accurately depicts the path of the nerve signal before reaching the sarcolemma? Okay, we need to work on our path. So our somatic motor neuron goes to our neuromuscular junction, which will then go into our T-tubules and then our sarcoplasmic reticulum. So the T-tubule comes, so it looks like we had a lot of trouble with our T-tubule comes before our sarcoplasmic reticulum. So, right, so we got muscle fiber, right? Our T-tubule goes down, and as the signal goes down, then it can go through the sarcoplasmic reticulum, right? So it wouldn't make sense for it to go through the sarcoplasmic reticulum and then into the T-tubule, because then where are we going? The T-tubule is our pathway, okay? It's us not walking on the grass to get to the buildings, okay? Well, you ever seen a professor like walk around the building, like on like the little like sidewalk that's like around the building, because we're weird about our grass? Ooh, took the lead from Jonathan, and then Jonathan took it back. He's back in the game. I've been alone a long time. I'm very sorry. Which of these doesn't describe a muscle fiber when calcium in the cell is low? Come, give this back to me. Yes, the sarcoplasmic reticulum releases calcium. That is where it's stored. Okay, cool. So if we don't have any calcium in the cell, we can't have a muscle contraction. Just like if we don't have any ATP, we can't have a muscle contraction. So when we have low intracellular calcium, we have no contraction. We have no cross bridge. We have nothing, okay? When we have high calcium, I'm sorry, I'm falling. When we have high calcium, we have an attachment and therefore we have a contraction, as long as we have ATP. Where are the acetylcholine receptors found? 8 more, and then we're done. We're almost out of here. Okay, so the acetylcholine receptors, right? So they're in the synaptic cleft. So let's see this real quick. Why are you being like this? Stop. Oh no, don't X out the Kahoot, Natalie. That would be tragic. TBH. I'm gonna dance to Mac Miller while I find this video. Or it's not going to. It's jam. So, for those of you,
you use muscles
So for those of you who haven't been coming to the online session, that is chill. This video is the best. Watch it forever. Watch it like 9 times. Watch it until you can recite it, because this is so much of that muscle contraction that you need to know. So, and it gives you some super dope visuals. Okay. So, this is our somatic motor neuron to our axon terminal. These little purple triangles are acetylcholine, okay? And then this is our synaptic cleft, right? This little, don't move. Wait, is it gonna move? Okay, this is our synaptic cleft, that little folding. And then these little orange other triangles are our receptors for our acetylcholine. So our acetylcholine comes down into here, attaches to this receptor, opens sodium-gated ion channels, and then goes down this blue piece, which is our T-tubule, and then through the purple piece, and releases all these little yellow dots, orange dots, what are the gold dots, which are calcium, okay? And then if you haven't watched any of this, this is what actin and myosin look like. Where's the troponin and all that? Right, actin, or this is myosin, this is actin, right? Tropomyosin is this filament, and then troponin is this blue protein that the calcium binds to, okay? Watch this video. If you are confused, this will clear up so many things. Okay, we're going back to the Kahoot. We're almost done. I believe in you. You're all doing so good. I know we've been here for a while, and everyone wants to go do something else. Do we feel better about this? Where everything is? Yes? I know a lot of you are like, I've seen the video. Stop showing me the video. I'm sorry. Okay, 7 more. What binds to troponin to pull back tropomyosin? Cool, calcium, okay? ATP allows us to create a cross bridge, and then myosin does the binding, but it doesn't pull back troponin. I really should not be playing this, but. What is rigor mortis? Redemption. A no longer comparison. Dope. I don't even have to talk about it. We all know what this is. It's not a rigorous Morty, which I think is so funny. I think I'm really funny. I have fun making these. Can a sarcomere partially contract? Been on TikTok a lot. Can you tell? Okay. So this is called the all or none principle, which tells us that once an action potential is generated, once a threshold is hit, right, that opens those sodium-gated ion channels, we're contracting, okay? There is no half contraction. There is no half bottom contraction. It's full or nothing, okay? So we're doing it or we are not doing it. So no way, Jose, can we partially contract, okay? We're fully contractions, right? How are muscle responses graded? A, B, C, D, E, F, G? Look at you guys. Strength and frequency. I would dab, but I think that dabbing is terrible, so I'm not going to do that. Because dabbing is old. Like old people, now they know how to dab, and now it's like not cool anymore. What is temporal summation? Okay, so this is on that last session, the Hank Green video that's, it'll go like intro muscles, joints, and then a whole muscle organism. It looks like a little animated guy with a muscle face. Watch that. That's going to tell you all about contractions and summation, and it's going to give you these cute little graphs about telling us what these summations are. Summation is just like, we're just adding stimuluses together. So temporal summation is two stimuluses received close together, and so therefore they're temporally summated, right? Just like sum in math means to add. So they're summated, so they're happening at the same time, okay? They happen like one after the other. It's like domino effect with muscles. What is recruitment for the Army? Cool. So recruitment is when a stimulus is sent to more than one muscle fiber. So we're recruiting several muscle fibers. So, right, so the military recruits troops and they recruit humans, right? So we're recruiting muscle fibers, okay? I like that someone put when the military recruits troops. I think that's fun. And when the stimulus isn't strong enough to produce a contraction is called a submaximal threshold, okay? Because it's under the threshold we needed, okay? Ooh, this one and one more. Which of these is defined correctly? It's a girly song of the day. Awesome, they're all. So muscle twitch is a single action potential, okay? A period of relaxation is when the calcium goes back into the sarcoplasmic reticulum and therefore tension declines. Tension is what allows us to contract, right? If our tension exceeds our load, then we can pick something up, right? But if our tension does not exceed our load, we're doing that like, kind of like it sounds like we're constipated, but we're not moving anything and we look like dumb, okay? A latent period is when no tension is seen, right? We're kind of like chilling. And then a period of contraction, right? We have that cross bridge formation and tension increases and we're like super duper strong the whole time. Heather. Ooh. Last one. Which of these correctly defines threshold stimulus? Okay, cool. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. All right, when a stimulus is strong enough to produce a contraction, if it's strong enough to produce a contraction, we're going to produce an action potential. Okay, when it's not strong enough, okay, this is our submaximal. Okay, and then when the smallest fibers are recruited, this has to do with size principle and recruitment. Oh. Third. Uh-oh. Who is it? Jonathan. Kahoot. That's cute. Okay. All right, friends. So let me know if you need anything. I'm going to post this on the YouTube so that if you want to watch it, you can. Please text me back if you have any questions. There is my study guide that I made when I took this class, and there's the 4 parts of it, and it's handwritten, and it's everything I drew out and how I studied. There's YouTube videos, there's playlist videos if you don't want to look at my face anymore, right? There's Hank Green, there's lots of things. Let me know if you need anything. You can do this. Confidence is key. It is online, so like you can do it. We're not having session on Thursday because you have a test and no one wants that. If he doesn't post a session on Tuesday or any more notes, then we probably won't have a session on Tuesday, but I will let you know. I think I'm about to get kicked out of this building. So, any questions or anything before we dip? Is the voting over, friends?
Yeah,
It ended at 4 today.
4, okay, cool. When do y'all hear about it?
Tonight or tomorrow morning.
Well, I hope I'm rooting
Thank you.
everyone. Okay, so
Thank
you guys can have a good luck on your test. I'll see you guys later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.